Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Homewrecker podcast,
where we wreck and shatter conventional wisdom and ways of thinking.
Yeah, I am the Golden Greek, Alex Arion. I'm joined, as always, by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, Monique. Monique.
Hi.
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 How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Fantastic, as always.
Lovely.
Isn't it, though?
Yes.
Wow.
That's why I said it.
Such witty repartee we have going back and forth here. So what is new with you, my lady?
I've been knitting.
Yeah, you're a knitter now.
Yeah, I like it.
You like knitting.
I do. My blanket's coming along.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
A 48-inch by 60-inch blanket. So it takes me, I timed how long it takes to do one row of knitting. It takes me approximately 26 minutes. So I'm trying to do at least 2 rows a day, but I figure I'll be done in the next 14 to 16 weeks.
Outstanding. That's yeah. Okay. That's
You can tell in the beginning, like,
excellent.
there's like drop stitches, so there's like little holes in places, but it gets better the further I go.
Maybe the trained eye could tell. I couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, my friend, I showed her and she's like, "Oh, look at this here. Oh, and this. Oh my gosh." I'm like, "Yeah, I just started."
Did you tell you just start? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Told you just start. It's like,
Yeah.
geez, go easy on me here. My goodness.
Oh, she was
Nobody's
fine.
awesome at anything when they first start doing it, or very
Well,
few people anyway.
Some people can be.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so what are we talking about this week?
We're talking about technology, phones, and I guess privacy.
Like cell phones.
Yeah, cell
And
phones.
how on earth did we come up? Like, did we decide to talk about this? Can you just like
Yes.
clue everybody in, please?
I was over with my parents, and my dad was watching something on YouTube, and it was talking about the new iPhone 17 and how it's going to be a flip phone. And he commented how,
It's gonna be a flip phone.
yeah, it like folds in half, so like it folds open.
Okay.
And he commented how he's waiting for the Tesla phone to come out. So I came over and I said to you, didn't we say something? Weren't we talking about a Tesla phone? Because we were talking about the satellite or something like it was like the connection. So
How about the Starlink, the Tesla Starlink,
is that like
the internet that they have, the
Yes.
satellite internet?
Yes, we were
Okay.
talking about that, and there was mention of a Tesla phone. But when I had looked at the time, I couldn't actually find any definitive information on when it might come out. So
Okay.
I mentioned that to you, how we were discussing that, and I couldn't remember where the conversation went.
Okay, so you talked about that, and then I said, okay. So I started looking, and I just start looking around, and you go on the internet and you're looking around, and different things pop up, and your attention goes to you're holding your finger up. You're going to say something.
Well,
Let me
just
stop.
because,
What?
yes, because you said, no, it wasn't a Tesla phone we wanted to get. It was one of those like
Oh, it was
super
a
private phone.
a privacy phone.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you came over and said something. I'm like, no, that's not what we wanted. We wanted to get it's like a privacy type phone. We full disclosure, we have iPhones. Okay, so and we have like from several models ago. I don't remember which one it is, but we have one from several years back, and it still works fine. So we're not going to get rid of it just for the heck of it. We're going to use it till we have to get a new one. So, but when we do, we're looking at alternatives because I'm just kind of I want something different other than Apple. So we were looking at this other privacy type phone. So I started looking into this Tesla phone thing. And while I'm looking around and doing different, looking at different websites, looking for reviews, looking for when it's available, all this kind of stuff, some other things pop up about the iPhone, the new iPhone, or the newest one. This, I think, is the iPhone 16. Yeah. And I start looking into it a little bit because I stopped really following the new iPhone releases because it seems like they're always the same every year. It's like, whatever. Oh, wow, the camera got a little better every year, whatever. Well, apparently this one has a lot of new features that I wasn't really paying attention to when it came out. So I started looking into it, and I'm like, this is scary. Like, the stuff that this thing can do, this is not cool by any stretch. And I don't, if you're into technology and stuff, great, but this is scary. So I thought, why don't we do a show highlighting some of these features of this phone and just how scary it can be.
Yeah, we wanted to go over iPhone versus like a Tesla phone versus, one of those privacy phones and try to go over the information. If we're going to look it up, why would we not want to share it with you? And the
Sure.
stuff that Alex found, I think it's important that everyone realize like this is like from the websites.
Like, I really don't think that people realize exactly what they're doing or what they're accepting and what terms and conditions they're agreeing to and what they're actually carrying around with them, especially with these new iPhone 16s. So I'm going to say all this information that I'm going to talk about, it's readily available on Apple's website. However, what they like to do is they like to put a spin on it. It's clever marketing. They'll tell you the truth just in a shiny, happy people holding hands kind of way, right? So they're not going to tell you the implications of some of these things. But I figured, you know what? I think I'm going to take a stab at it. So let's take a look at the iPhone 16. So this came out in September of 2024, I believe.
I don't know.
I think it was, I want to say it's the most recent one, and they come out every year around September time. So the first thing that these things can do, which is, I guess you could consider it kind of cool, they can detect a severe car crash. Did you know that?
No.
So if you're in a severe car crash and you have your iPhone, it can detect that you were in a car crash.
What's the difference between being in a car crash maybe versus being in a mosh pit?
I don't know.
Or skydiving. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you that it can detect a severe car crash. This is their information. This is what they say. Maybe I'll reach out to Apple and say, hey, what if I'm in a mosh pit? Can it detect that? Do you want me to do that?
Well, let's say it's a car accident.
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm telling you the information from here. So it says that it can detect a severe car crash. So I guess you could say that's a good thing, right? Because if you're in a car crash and there are people that have gotten in car accidents, and what the iPhone will do is it'll contact emergency services for you, like right away. Because what if you're out cold or whatever? So some people could go, yeah, that's a great thing. And sure, I'll concede that's a nice feature. Okay, fair enough. How can it do that though? Well, let's look at some of the reasons why it can detect all of this kind of stuff. These new iPhones have an eye tracking feature. So it tracks your eyes as you look at the screen. It's not the camera, which a lot of people think it is. It's not the camera. So if you say we have these little things you can put on your cameras, on your laptop camera, it's a little cover that like a little adhesive and it covers the camera on your laptop or on your phone if you want to cover it for privacy, right? Well, these new iPhones, they don't detect your eye movement from the front camera. So you can cover that all you want. It's the screen itself.
I don't like that.
It's the whole screen is watching you and has eye tracking software. So it can tell where you are looking on the screen, where does your attention go when you're looking at a web page, an advertisement, when you're in an app, whatever it is.
I have thoughts about that.
Okay.
Do you want to finish?
No, feel free. Let's just stop me. We'll talk.
Okay, so that is something where I don't like that for many reasons. One, I don't want anyone looking at me, even AI, like that's invading my privacy. And then I know it's most likely for marketing. That's what almost everything is for. I know people want to go to like worst case scenario. It's almost always marketing. They're tracking, your pupil dilation when you see something you like. But this is where my mind goes. This is what I question. There is something called, and I'm going to try to say it right, iridology. And that is the study of the eye and the iris. And what people do is they use that because different parts of your iris represent different parts of your body. And it can tell a person if they're sick, if certain organs are having trouble. It can give medical information. So then I wonder, is Big Pharma going to use that for marketing by studying somebody's iris with that eye movement, with those eyes, and then market their pharmaceuticals directly to you?
I mean, that is definitely a possibility, I would think. I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm. But I don't want my camera looking at me.
It's not your camera. It's your screen.
I don't want my screen.
It's watching you at all times.
Yeah, I don't like that. And we all know that the way you look when your camera is when your phone, the screen is facing you, it's not flattering. And we all know this. So we don't want that being picked up.
Okay.
Just saying.
Okay. You're so vain, even for your phone.
I don't care. I'm keeping it real.
These new iPhones have a feature called iPhone mirroring. So you can use your phone and whatever you were looking at on your phone, if you have a compatible Apple product, a Mac, a MacBook, iPad, whatever, you can continue doing what you were doing on your phone on your computer and vice versa. It's an iPhone mirroring feature.
What's the difference between that and screen mirroring? So if you're watching something on your phone or computer, you can watch it on the TV.
It's this. I guess it's pretty much the same thing, I suppose.
Okay. Or is it like
I don't know if there's a difference.
I can put it to my computer and then type on my laptop?
I have not used this feature.
Okay.
Because I don't have the iPhone 16.
Yeah. So there's
I don't
no
know.
other information.
I don't have the exact specifics of how it works, but the fact that it can share information with your computer, it's kind of unprecedented, because before, whatever you did on your phone stayed on your phone unless you wanted to transfer it with a USB cable or AirDrop it or whatever. But now there's a feature, you just turn it on and then you can just jump from your laptop to your computer and vice versa. Or excuse me, your laptop to your phone and vice versa, doing the same thing. I guess this is how it was. This is what I got out of looking at it. Now, again, without having used it, maybe I'm not explaining it properly. So for those of you that have an iPhone 16, if I'm not explaining this properly, I apologize. Reach out to us, correct me, and let me know, and we'll update the show. Find My iPhone with the power off is also a new thing that these iPhones can do, which a lot of people are excited about, because if my battery dies or I turn my phone off or whatever and I lose it, I can still find it.
Or somebody stole it and shut it off. Or
stole it and shut it off or whatever, and it can be found still, because that feature will work even with the phone off.
So how do they manage that?
We'll get into that. Well, I'll tell you exactly. They use what's called Bluetooth Light Energy technology, and that's in all of these phones. And it also uses the Wi-Fi mesh any Wi-Fi mesh network, and pretty much anywhere you go now, especially if you're in a city, you've got Wi-Fi everywhere. And what this does, it also uses the Apple MeshNet network. So any Apple iPhones that are around, any Apple TVs, any Apple routers, any Apple that it picks up, any signal that it picks up, it will transmit through that network.
I don't like that. So somebody else's stuff could be transmitting through my network.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Correct.
Now, if somebody
they're
has,
all
like,
kind of
private,
working together.
So if like we have a password protected Wi-Fi, all that's password protected, can it still go through?
It can still use the mesh of the Wi-Fi to transmit data back to
even if my Wi-Fi
Apple,
is password protected.
Correct. Yes.
So it doesn't matter if you have password protected Wi-Fi, so other people can't use it. Apple can use it.
What it does is the device transmits the data back to Apple, who then transmits it to you from your computer or whatever, where you're trying to do the Find My iPhone feature. Yeah. But it's kind of scary, because if your phone's off, how is it transmitting still? When you power a phone off, shouldn't it be off?
There's always signal and energy going through.
Exactly. So that's kind of concerning if you're somebody that turns your phone off at night because you want privacy, or if you're going somewhere and you just don't want to be bothered and you power your phone off. It's like you're not really.
So we'll shut our cellular off. And now, is that still going to, so I would think, because we want to do that to stop the cellular signal from affecting us.
Yes.
We want to stop that. So is it always going to be going in a sense?
It's always going.
Nice.
Always transmitting.
Excellent.
Always working. Absolutely. So that's something. Now, of course, the big thing, actually, I'll get to the big thing in a minute, but these iPhones can communicate without internet, even without a SIM card. So even in airplane mode, this iPhone, they can communicate with the Apple Mesh network, and using the Bluetooth low energy technology, and also uses satellite connections. Any satellite connections that are in the area, that's how it's transmitting. So it can work. It's always transmitting and always running. And what it's always running is the Apple Intelligence, which is the AI that comes installed in every iPhone 16.
So it'll have AI always running. But if I'm
Always
out
running.
in the middle of nowhere with no signal, will I be able to get emergency services? AI can, but could I on my phone?
That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not going to get an iPhone 16 to try it out.
No, it's just probably not.
I would say you're probably safe in the middle of nowhere with no cell signal anywhere, because I guess how else?
But if it's
But
using
but
satellite,
if it's using satellites, then I don't know, and I don't know if that's just the AI that uses it. Again, I'm going based off of different material that I found online, looking in different places, and from Apple's own material.
and I don't expect you to answer all these questions. These are questions that we should all think about. And I'm not going to pop up with every question.
They're
that
great
should be thought
questions.
about.
You're going to ask me stuff.
Yeah.
I looked at this for a long time.
And I don't expect you to know. Oh, I don't.
And
I
I'll
just
do
did
my-
the thing. Sorry, I don't expect you to know everything.
Well, I'll do my best to answer, but if I don't say it, if I can't answer it, I apologize. But as always, anything I say, double check it, do your own research. But so far, it seems okay on the surface, but it's like, but why? Why is this working? It means I can't. You don't have the option to shut any of this stuff off. Like before, you have like the face recognition software on our phones. We have that. I think we got the first model where that was a thing. I shut it off. I've never used it once. I don't want anything having my face.
Nope.
Because that goes into every database around. It's like, I don't want my face on some software. No, absolutely not. Not voluntarily. Absolutely not. So it's like now you don't even have the option with this new phone.
And that just reminded me. So I remember years ago, I could have sworn I remember you telling me you were talking with a guy who was in Hell's Angels. And he told you, and this was years ago, with the iPhones, how whenever they go in a meeting, they leave all the phones outside because even if the phones are shut off, there's ways for the phone to hear you and listen.
Yeah, well, they were smart because they anytime if they, I mean, I don't know what they talk about in their meetings. I'm not a Hell's Angel. I don't have a clue. But what they would do is they'd leave all phones out. Nobody was allowed to bring a phone inside because they're rightfully so. They're paranoid. They know what the government can do. The government doesn't tell you all that it can do. They're never going to tell you all the technology and all the resources that they have and all the capability that they have. But as far back, I mean, we were talking about this with our kids earlier. The movie Enemy of the State with Will Smith and Gene Hackman from 1999, where the guy was getting like, they were showing you all this different stuff that they could do back then. And that was in a movie, but that was in 99. That's 25 years ago now. Yeah. So yes, they'd leave their phones outside. Nobody's allowed to bring a phone in. And this was like 15, 20 years ago. Nobody could bring a cell phone. It wasn't iPhones. It was a cell phone. Couldn't have a cell phone inside. Everybody had to leave their cell phone out. Their pagers, any electronics had to be left out if they were going to a meeting room, and then they could go in there and talk. Kind of like how they do in, I think, in Congress and Senate. They have to go into those like skiffs when they call it a skiff. I forget what that stands for, but when they're looking at or talking about classified information, they have to go in there. They have to leave all their electronics outside so that nobody can listen in on and hear about classified information. Same idea.
Smart.
They were doing the same thing. Yeah. But I mean, even back then, so your phone's always been able to listen to you. Now, is the NSA or the CIA, are they listening to your phone or my phone or somebody listening's phone? Probably not, because what do they care about what we have to say or what we're doing?
Or do they have AI listening to everything and then pulling in when certain words or phrases come up?
Well, that's the thing. They don't have some, Joe Schmo sitting at a desk.
They don't have enough people for that.
Yeah, they don't have somebody sitting there listening to everybody. But what they do is keywords, any internet searches you do on your phone or your laptop, that will pull up a red flag, and then they'll look into you and they'll say, well, what else does this person look at? What else does this person talk about? Whatever. If you somehow pop up as a person of interest and you're on their radar, yeah, That's how they do it. That's intelligence gathering. I mean, that's how it works. So your privacy since the Patriot Act is non-existent. It has been. But now it's more in your face and people still don't get it.
They agreed to a lot of it.
So this Apple Intelligence, the other thing here, the iPhone has all these new sensors that we talked about, but now the camera is fully controlled by the operating system, not by you. So it can listen to you, it can see you, it can see who's around you, it can even find other people around you who have iPhones. It can feel you, and your screen can even be watched remotely. It has that capability now.
That is so scary.
Yeah, it has that capability now. And the Apple Intelligence, the AI that it's in there, funny, Apple Intelligence AI, right? So that, according to Apple's explanation, what this does, it's a multi-layered AI environment. So the phone itself has a local AI capable of doing many different tasks that you might give it, whatever those might be. I don't use AI, so I don't know what people would use it for.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
But it can do whatever, simple tasks, and it's localized. It's on your phone. Now, if you give it a task to do that is beyond its capability, it will go out to Apple's AI servers, and those servers are built to handle a little bit more, and they're built as lighter versions of OpenAI, which is the big AI. Like I think that's the one that Trump just gave a whole bunch of money to develop whatever, Operation Lightning Warp Speed, whatever the hell. Yeah. And so if it still can't handle that task, it goes out to the actual OpenAI server to complete your task. Now, of course, for the user, this process takes like 3, 4, 5 seconds. It doesn't take long at all. You don't notice that it's going through all these things, and it'll do whatever you ask it to do, and done. But you now, remember, anytime you're entering any information into here, it's going out. It's being kept on this server. So anything you're asking an AI to do or anything you say, it's being stored. Now, the phone, as I said, it's watching you. It can hear you. It learns by you using it, of course. It's going to learn. Like if you got kids, it's going to know, okay, there's Sally, there's little Tommy, there's little Fred or whatever. Oh, there's mom, there's the husband, there's my user, there's Joe Schmo, and there's Betty, his wife. It knows. It learns you. It learns who everybody is. Whether you want it to or not, it's learning because that's what it does. And it's storing all this information. Essentially, it's building a profile of you and the people around you, which I'm not cool with. I don't know if you'd be okay with something like that, but I'm not okay with that.
Nope. I'm just thinking like, rise of the machines. Hello. So our phone is going to get to know us. It's going to know our patterns. And then is it going to start talking to the cars that have all computers in it? Oh, I know that, Fred, he drives 4.27 miles to work every day. It takes him 20 minutes with traffic if he gets all red lights. 17 if he gets all green, and then I don't know, and then Wilma, she stays home with the kids all day, and people have these smart houses where all these computers control everything, and it's like, I don't know, I'm thinking worst case scenario, it could kill us.
Well, that's the scary thing about it.
But
so
I think it's mostly probably used for marketing.
Mostly, yeah, I guess.
But I still don't trust it.
I don't trust it. Now, in doing some digging here, I found that this AI is not new to the Apple iPhone, and this kind of upset me a little bit because I didn't realize, but we've had it all along on our phone. Not to this extent and not this type of AI.
What do you mean we've had it all along?
So, do you remember back in 2015, we'll go back in time a little bit, the San Bernardino shooter in California?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time, that shooter had an iPhone. And there was a big thing. The iPhone actually belonged to the county because this alleged shooter worked for the county. And the FBI got hold of his phone and couldn't crack it to see if he was working with anybody else or whatever. So they couldn't crack the encryption. They went to Apple and asked them to crack it. And Apple said no, because their big thing is privacy, and they won't compromise their customers' privacy. And you know what? I applaud them for that. That's what they should have done.
That was a big controversy back then, because you had the people who said, well, he obviously is a criminal. He did these things. Why don't they just give the police permission, the FBI permission to do it? Other people said it shouldn't matter, because once you do that,
it's a slippery slope.
You can't undo it.
You can't undo it. Once you give them a back door and you crack something for them, they're going to come to you for everything. And they're going to say, no, you got to help us for this. You got to help us with this. At what point do you say no? So Apple just firmly stood their ground and said no at the time. And I applaud them for that. And I was very behind that at the time, even though it's not very popular, because people are saying, well, that's a terrorist. There could be more of them and this, that. Yeah, that's true. Of course. However, at what point do you give up your privacy and your freedom and your rights? At what point? What point do you say, okay, now I give them up, or no, I don't? And remember, as always, you give something up, especially to the government, they're never going to give it back to you, no matter what. Once you've given it up, it's gone. So they did the right thing by saying no back in 2015.
And for anyone who thinks, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, I have nothing to hide, I'm a good person, I'm a good law-abiding citizen, yeah. But then just think right now, but what if they change laws? I mean, what if the government becomes so corrupt and it's like China, and just speaking your mind all of a sudden can get you in trouble? And now, do you still want the government going through, looking through your phone, seeing what you've said about them? I mean, you just never know where it can go. And also, you got to realize we need to protect our freedoms, because as Alex just said, once you give it up, it's next to impossible to ever get it back.
Yeah, you're not getting it back. It's over. That's it. Kiss it goodbye. Yeah. And so what happened after this with, and again, if I know there's probably some people listening who are like, what do you mean you wouldn't want the government to crack a phone and whatever to get more terrorists? Hey, look, that's just how it is. You have to put your foot down at some point and say, no, this is our policy. We are for encryption, for privacy for our customers, and that's it. And so again, at the time, I applaud Apple for what they did. Of course, right after that happened, you had the CIA director at the time under Obama, John Brennan was his name. He was going on every possible talk show and news show and whatever, talking about the dangers of not giving the government open access and a backdoor access into a lot of these operating systems on mobile phones and computers, because they need it for intelligence gathering. It's dangerous to just have this end-to-end encryption, and he's talking about all these dangers and this and that. And it's like, yeah, of course he's going to say that. They're the intelligence community. They want to get as much information as they can.
You know, it just reminded me of, in our last episode, I Smell a McScam, McDonald's saying how if using that software, the Kitch software, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
It could cause harm. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, he's going around doing the PR stuff and basically trying to turn public sentiment against Apple and trying to put public pressure on some of these technological companies to say, hey, no, it's okay. You should allow the government to have a backdoor. And it's like, what? No, absolutely not. I don't want anyone having a way to spy on my text conversations or emails or anything like that. You don't want to openly, freely give that to somebody. But that's the PR that was being done at the time. And shortly after that, I didn't know this because I had stopped following the story at the time, but Apple came out and gleefully announced that they had this new AI scanning software that was going to do what was called client-side scanning of all media on their iPhones. So what this did was, this is the way they rolled it out to everybody, made the announcement. It was under the guise of looking for child sexual exploitive and abuse material, or CSAM for short, which, yeah, On the surface, sure, absolutely. If that's what it's going to do, that's 100% noble, absolutely. And what it would do is, if the AI, if this scanning software picked up anything that it would determine as CSAM material, it would notify Apple, who in turn would notify the authorities, and then go and question the individual, wherever it goes from there. But that's how they announced the rollout of this technology. Now, the problem with that is the technology doesn't just look for that. It's scanning your stuff.
Everything.
It scans everything. There's no way to say, just look for this. No, it just looks at all of your stuff. And all you have to do, if you're the government or whatever, say, I want anybody that has let's get political for a second. I want anybody that has a Joe Biden for president sign. Find them. Okay. Anybody that has pro-Trump stuff, find them. That's basically what it can do. It doesn't just stop at the CSAM material. It can look at anything and everything. So that's concerning. And we've had it on our phones this whole time, and I didn't know it. But I'm an idiot. I should have known it, because, like when you go to your photos and it does like little like slideshows that it does, it just makes up these like random things. That's because it's using... It's been scanning and looking at all the faces and learning the different faces. So I've got little albums of my kids, each one individually, that I didn't make, but my phone did. It's like, what? Okay. So yeah, we've had this AI, this client-side scanning for a while now. So that was kind of upsetting when I found that out. I'm like, are you kidding? Because I would have never...
And the concern is with that too, how good is it at determining what's what? So if someone takes a picture of their, toddler in the bathtub, is it going to flag that? Or like,
good question.
Like, we don't know, but it's just one of those things where, and then is it going to go through all the pictures looking for everything? I mean, it goes through all the pictures anyway, but I don't know. It's not very clear what the criteria are and how our privacy is protected otherwise.
So now think about it. With all the new sensors and all this stuff that's available with this iPhone 16, if you really think about it, it's now a fully sensory capable robot. That's what you have now if you have this iPhone 16. It has previously unheard of awareness. It has hearing capabilities, environmental sensing capabilities, positional capabilities, touch, and the only thing that it's missing is its capability to ambulate. In other words, it can't get up and walk to you or away from you.
Not yet.
Yet. Exactly. Yet.
Yeah, not yet.
So if you're not concerned with privacy, if you always unequivocally agree with your government, then who cares? But at all times, think about this, you generally have around 50% or more of the population that disagrees with the government, no matter who's in power. Sometimes you agree, sometimes you disagree. Sometimes you strongly agree, sometimes you strongly disagree. Some people like to air their opinions online or on social media. Then it's out there forever for everyone to see. But some people, myself included, don't like to post everything on social media, and I rarely even go on there. Now, if I had an iPhone 16, I would now have a device either on me, in my pocket, in my hand, or in close proximity to me that would record and interpret everything I did or said. Now, my life, it's no longer my own. Everything I say or do is recorded, interpreted, and stored, and the machine basically is in control of your life. Think about it. Depending on who's in control of the government and whatever country you're in, you could be labeled a dissident, extremist, a terrorist, who knows? Yet people are willingly opening themselves up to these possibilities by purchasing and using these devices without fully comprehending the ramifications of doing so. We are giving up our privacy and freedom in the name of convenience. It's scary.
Yes, and I was going to say something and then I forgot. It'll come to me.
Everything I've said about this iPhone 16, yes, I added my own thoughts here as well, but all this info is available from Apple. Of course, they don't present it in the terms that I did. Instead, everything is presented under the guise of convenience, technological progression, and therefore and innovation. And Apple still claims they cannot see your data, therefore privacy is iPhone. But if you think about this phone with the storage that it gets bigger with every phone, the amount of storage that you're able to have. With each subsequent release, the storage gets bigger. It's encouraging you to put more of your photos, more videos, more of the podcasts you listen to, et cetera, more of your personal information. Do all your banking on there. Do everything on your phone. You're basically putting all of your life's data onto the phone, and it's supposed to make you feel safe because Apple claims they cannot see your data. Do you trust them?
Wait.
Are you willing to take that risk?
They can't see your data, but their AI can see your data.
Well, that's
so facto they can see your data.
That's where they. I love using. I don't like the term gaslight, but that's what they're doing. Basically, they are gaslighting you. They are gaslighting you, saying we can't see your data. They're right. They're not the ones looking at your data. They're not looking at your data right away. It's not them. It's their AI, though.
But that is them. It's their AI, therefore it's them.
It's their AI, therefore them. Correct. But the way they say, well, we don't look at your data. We don't see it.
And that AI is not going to tell them?
The minute somebody says, hey, we need to see so-and-so's data, you don't think they're going to cave? Look at the UK. They just caved to the United Kingdom's government. They are now allowing a severe vulnerability in their iPhones. They're basically opening a back door so that the United Kingdom's government can look at their citizens' iPhone data. So real quick, getting back to what you said about how I said that they can't look at your data. Well, they can't in theory because of the way their infrastructure is set up. However, with the new AI tech, the AI will know you very well. And who controls that AI? The AI, right? Who programs that AI? Who tells the AI what is good, bad, right, or wrong? And who gives anyone the right to determine any of that or dictate it to someone else? Well, you do. If you use this technology, you are submitting yourself to being put under the microscope of an AI who learns about you in every conceivable way based on the data it receives from your input into this device, knowingly or unknowingly, and a profile on you is being developed. I can see the next logical progression of tech like this being like what we saw in the movie Minority Report. Thought crimes are eventually going to be prosecuted, and all the jury is going to need to see is your Apple Intelligence curated profile, your user profile. Heaven help us. That's it.
I didn't kill anyone, but you thought of it.
You thought of it.
And we're all going to jail.
That's it.
We're all going to jail.
Think about it. Think about it. If we allow this to continue, that's what's going to happen. It's really crazy. So, yeah, it's just scary. Scary.
We need to start doing away with technology, getting rid of technology, and just start working on our telepathy and our psychicness.
Yeah, right.
Just go back to that, but we got to get rid of the technology.
Now, going back to that client-side scanning technology that they have, think about, now, if you live in, say, China, for example, and you have a photo of the Tiananmen Square incident stored on your phone, guess what? The Chinese government's going to come knocking on your door because they can freely access this information. And you know what the number one phone that the Chinese government is pushing on its citizens is right now?
iPhone?
The iPhone 16.
Oh.
Gee, I wonder why that is.
That sounds like a mystery.
So if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. But this is what's going on now. It's crazy. So I mentioned earlier about how the United Kingdom just passed that law and they've compelled Apple, and Apple's agreed to give them that vulnerability. I cannot find anywhere else where any legislation has been passed, anywhere else that's trying to compel big tech to allow any kind of open doors or back doors for governments or intelligence agencies to access mobile phone software. But I'm sure it's coming. especially now that the UK has done this. You know that now a precedent's been set. You know, I'm sure other European, Union countries are probably going to follow suit, and then from there, who knows what else will happen.
Again, that one world government.
That first domino has fallen, and that's typically how it goes. So we're in scary times as it relates to privacy and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, full disclosure, we have iPhones. We use Macs. We have an Apple TV. We like Apple. We like the products. But I'm not getting a new iPhone. I'll never get an iPhone 16 or greater.
Mm-mm.
Nothing that has that Apple intelligence in it. Absolutely not. I'm done with that. So, what's the alternative? Right? What do you get? An Android, a Google phone? That's just as bad for privacy's sake, if that's what you're concerned with, because Google's notorious for taking all your data and selling it to make money. That's what they're known for. So what are you supposed to do? Well, there are other devices. They are out there. And Monique, why don't you tell us about one of them right now?
Well, there are Freedom phones. So these phones garnered a lot of attention in the past few years, mostly through clever marketing with the promise to prioritize free speech and privacy above anything else. The company was founded by a Bitcoin billionaire named Eric Finman. And initially, the phone was supposed to run on software called Freedom OS, which Finman claimed protects your privacy. It had an uncensorable, quote unquote, app store that they called the Patri App Store. Clever, huh?
It's so awesome.
And that claimed to feature apps banned by big tech. So, I mean, that sounds great, right? Shortly after announcing their launch, they changed their Freedom OS to Clear OS. Immediately after its launch announcement, people began noticing that none of the company's claims could be substantiated with actual proof. None of the software had any explanations about how it worked or who developed it. In fact, now almost 5 years after its release, it still doesn't. And furthermore, the phone itself turns out to be just a rebranded budget Chinese phone, which is manufactured by a Chinese company called, I'm going to try to say it right, Umidigi. And if you do some more digging...
I think it's Umidigi, but sure.
Umidigi,
Yeah.
Umidigi, I think you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do some more digging, you can actually buy the exact same phone from Alibaba for $119 instead of $499 from Freedom Phone. So, with no actual information about how the privacy software works, it appears that the Freedom Phone's claims are pure marketing, so it's most likely not a viable alternative to earlier iPhones, especially if privacy is a concern for you. But as always, we recommend you do your own research and draw your own conclusions.
Yeah, so this one, I looked at the website for this. I looked at all their marketing material. It just seems like it's all marketing. There's no information about how their operating system works. There's no information about any proprietary software, nothing. It just talks about how it's great for privacy. Uses very general terms and a lot of buzzwords. You saw the Patri App Store, and it's just clever marketing. That's all it is. And when you find out that it's just a cheap Chinese budget smartphone, they just rebranded it. Come on. And I found an interview with the Mr. Finman, the founder, and he admits in the interview that, yeah, it's a Chinese manufacturer. They have a manufacturing partner in Beijing, China. The manufacturing partner is this company, which is basically just taking one of their budget phones and slapping the Freedom Phone logo on it. That's all it is. So I don't know. It was coming up everywhere as far as like a privacy phone. When I was doing searches, it was coming up. But it's because of they've got some geniuses doing their search engine optimization.
Yeah. They're good with the SEO.
Yeah, big time. Big time. So next, we're going to talk about the unplugged phones. These look a little bit more promising. This company was co-founded by Eric Prince, the former Navy SEAL and founder of the private military company Blackwater. The unplugged phone is a privacy-first, proprietary, and secure smartphone that runs the Libert OS software and operating system. This was developed by the same cybersecurity expert that designed the mobile hacking Pegasus spyware. It purports to eliminate all tracking from Google, Amazon, and big tech. It has an advanced firewall, and its messaging system has no mic or camera access, thus, according to them, eliminating any vulnerabilities, allowing for true privacy with your messages. There's a built-in VPN, adding an extra layer of security for online browsing and privacy. Unplugged phone seems like a great option, but I'm still somewhat trepidatious considering the founder of the company's military history, and also the fact that the OS was designed by a hacker. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could argue that, okay, a hacker designed it, so he made sure to get all make sure there's no vulnerabilities. You could make that argument, sure. Or he left a bunch in there for only him to be able to access. So I don't know. Could go either way with that one. Again, do your own research and decide for yourself. But the unplugged phone currently retails for $989.
Yeah, that's, I mean, not as expensive as an iPhone.
Not as expensive as the iPhone, no.
Then there's the Brax 3, and it retails for $299, and it's easy to use, open sourced, and privacy friendly, according to its website. The phone is fully de-Googled. There is a built-in ad blocking software that continuously blocks ads, trackers, and unwanted connections. App restriction is also present, and it blocks data transmission to unauthorized phone apps. It also allows the user to choose what OS to install on their phone. One can use the open source AOSP, which is Android Open Source Project software, or the Ubuntu, spelled Ubuntu, touch operating system for Linux enthusiasts. Again, do your own research, but this one looks really promising. And for $299, it's probably one of the most affordable ones so far.
Yeah, and now we're only mentioning a few here because there's a lot of them out there. But I want to make sure that everybody realizes what we think is what we think. It's all about what you think and what you feel. So please always do your research. Now, I'm going to talk about one last phone, and this is the one that we mentioned earlier that really got us thinking about and started talking about this topic. The long-rumored Tesla Pi phone. This one is something else. I got to tell you. This one, I'm actually excited to talk about this one.
Oh, boy.
This one allows for seamless connectivity, meaning you'll have internet in mountain ranges, oceans, and rural areas. Speeds of up to 200 megabits per second and unlimited data for only $10 a month.
Sweet.
That's ridiculous. It gets better. This technology eliminates roaming fees, international fees, and eliminates any blackouts or interruptions in service. It comes equipped with a Starlink encryption system, dynamic key regeneration, which means each message that you send, text message, video message, whatever, is encrypted with a one-time quantum key that is destroyed after use, making it impossible to intercept. This is like the perfect privacy phone.
Yeah.
It has a built-in holographic display, which offers professional-grade photography with a 108 million pixel resolution for its camera.
Wow. Sounds like Elon is making cell phones great again, huh?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
It's insane. I'm looking at this going, like, what? It offers decentralized data storage, advanced brainwave interaction with Neuralink Light.
I don't know if I like that.
That means you can put on a headband. They say it's a non-intrusive headband that reads your brain waves.
No, thank you.
Allowing hands-free control of the Pi phone. So I would say no thank you to that. But think about it. This is perfect for someone with arthritis or other mobility issues. Somebody elderly that really maybe can't use a smartphone as well as you or I could. Maybe now they can. Maybe now they can send a text message or something, right? I mean, there's pros and cons to everything, right?
Mm.
So that's how I look at that. There's so much more that this phone promises. I'm excited about the hologram technology, because you can literally, you set your phone down on the table and it will shoot up a hologram about 3 to 4 inches above the, like what you see in the movies on TV
like
shows.
on TV, Parks and Rec.
Yes, like that's what this thing's gonna do. So I'm sitting there going, wow, this is insane. Now there's more to it, but the price point is insane for all that it offers.
Wait a minute, insane like $5,000?
No, it's $317.
That sounds like a bargain.
It's ridiculous. I'm like, where the hell can I get this?
So Elon must be like, I'm rich. So I'm just gonna,
I'm like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? So I looked. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube about this thing. I read a bunch of articles about this thing.
When's it coming out?
So I'm looking, and nobody can tell me when it's coming out. I'm like, when the hell is this thing coming out? I want this freaking phone. This thing looks awesome. It's ridiculous. And for $300, like, come on.
Sign me up.
Well, here's the thing. It sounds too good to be true. You know why?
Because it is.
Because it is.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's a hoax. It's false. It doesn't exist. It's not being developed by Elon Musk. It's not real. It's an internet hoax that people made up. And then it got so many clicks and views and likes that people just started piggybacking off it and making their own videos and making their own articles. And that's all it is. It's clickbait. It's a clickbait internet hoax. There is no Tesla phone. And if you look even further, back on November 4th, 2024, Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. And he was asked straight up, and he said, no, we're not doing a phone. He just said it, plain as day. We're not doing a phone. But people are still, if you hadn't listened to the podcast, you wouldn't know that. And I actually did listen to that podcast back in November, but I forgot. I mean, he only said it for like a second, and they talked about a bunch of other stuff. So I don't remember that comment, but he said it. I went back and, yeah, sure enough, he said it. And you can find a bunch of places where it's timestamped when he said it. They're not doing a phone. But people are sitting there getting all pumped and excited about it, and it's not even real. I was excited about it. It's not real. It's fake.
So again, it seems like if it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when I'm sitting there, I'm reading, I'm like, are you kidding? And like with every additional feature that I'm reading, I'm like, what? Are you serious? That's awesome. I'm getting all excited.
I just got the Kevin Sorbo disappointed in my head.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a hoax. There is no Tesla Pi phone. Not yet, anyway. They're not developing one, or at least they say they're not. So all that stuff you're seeing online and on YouTube and wherever else, it's all a big hoax.
It's a lie.
All a big lie. Not real. Now, I want to mention, too, before we wrap up, if you're going to be doing your own research, which we strongly recommend, we're going to put a bunch of links to a bunch of different articles that I pulled up. And we're going to actually put a couple in our show notes here on the podcast itself. But go to our website, homewreckerpodcast.com. We'll have a big, huge, long list there.
It's, I think, too many to put like for
yeah,
a podcast.
It'll be a little bit more comprehensive of a list of links where you can go and you can just, we'll have it all kind of curated into one little area for you to check out stuff.
Yeah, pull those threads.
So you can see for yourself and do your own research. Now, I also want to mention, too, that if you decide you're going to go into your search engine and type in something like best smartphone for privacy or something similar, 5 of the top results that came up for me all listed Apple's iPhone 16 as the top pick for cybersecurity experts. So I don't know how reliable those sources are, or if they're paid articles by Apple or what, but just be aware of that.
And that's the rub with that too, is a lot of those, they're paid to put that out. They're paid by these places, because I've done that before, best, tunnel greenhouse, and it's all the same stuff. And I'm like looking at reviews and they're all awful. But you know what? They're the ones who pay the money.
That's it.
For people to say nice things about them. So it's really hard. You have to keep looking and looking and looking, and it takes time. But,
what's your privacy? What's your security? What's it worth to you?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's worth the time. It's worth the effort of looking into it and trying to figure out the best option.
Reading the fine print.
Yeah.
The terms of service.
Always.
Privacy
Absolutely.
policy.
Absolutely.
User agreement.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have anything else that you'd like to add? Any thoughts about anything?
I just, part of the reason we have social media is for this podcast. And part of it is for, my tarot, organite, and hypnotherapy. And I'm just at the point, I just want to go live, I just want to get rid of all the technology and just live out in the woods and just have no technology.
I'm telling you, that's going to be really the only way to be truly free, because we are every single day, we're getting closer and closer to a surveillance state. I mean, you could argue we're already there, but we're getting even more so now.
Yeah.
You got smart cities that are starting to be built in places and all kinds of craziness going on in the world. So it's an exciting time to be alive. Whether or not that's scary, I guess it all depends on your viewpoint. But it's exciting nonetheless.
It is. Where we live, we got the Nature Channel, which is look outside the window. It's great. That's just entertainment enough. But we do like doing the podcast, so we'll stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah, we'll stick around for a bit
bring
longer.
Some topics. But yeah, hopefully people enjoyed it. You know what's interesting too? Just before we close out, one of our most downloaded episodes, our top downloaded episode, is I always feel like somebody's watching me. Now, if you haven't heard that episode, go listen to it, because we talk about privacy and we talk about terms of user agreements, terms of service, things like that, where, these companies are telling you that you're, by agreeing to this, we can spy on you, essentially. And there's a lot of good information in there. But I think part of the reason it's so popular is because people really do care, and they're just not always sure. Because, Apple makes all this sound like such a great thing. Oh, yeah, you won't have any privacy, but it's going to be wonderful because you can do all this stuff and you won't even really care.
Yeah, yeah. I think you're right. I think people do care about it. It's just with the hustle and bustle of today's society, who really has the time to look at to read, the fine print, so to speak? It's just so much easier to just go, okay, accept. Yeah, whatever. Okay, accept. And I don't know if I think I might have mentioned on a podcast, one of our recent podcasts, but a video game.
Yeah.
Did I mention that? Yeah.
Where
it's you go into the fine print, it says by accepting the terms, you submit your soul to some god. I forget who it was.
Like some god or demon.
It's
or something.
What? Yeah, it's in the terms and service that somebody found and posted, and I'm just
and even
what?
If something like that
is
crazy just to put in there to
even
see
if it's
people
just a
read
joke,
it for fun, I don't mess around with that.
What? Yeah, you don't what? You used to see in some of those sketch comedy shows and stuff where they'd say, "Oh yeah, you want my firstborn," and blah blah blah. I think it could get to the point where that stuff might be put into these terms and service agreements. It may become a reality.
We could
to some
come
extent.
to you for your organs at some point if we need it.
Yeah,
who knows?
Who knows what they're putting in there? So make sure you're reading your fine print, ladies and gentlemen. But until next time, we'll end on that note. I am the Golden Greek Alex Arion, joined as always by my beautiful, lovely, gorgeous wife, Monique.
And you've been listening to the Homewrecker podcast.
We love hearing from and interacting with our hearers and watchers. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter
at HomewreckerPod.
You can also visit our website,
homewreckerpodcast.com,
where you can check out past episodes and pick up some Homewrecker Podcast gear from our online store.
Also, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe or follow button wherever you're hearing or watching our show. That way you can be notified whenever a new episode drops. We're on all major podcasting platforms, and you can check out the video versions of our show at YouTube and Brighteon.
You can also find Monique in a few places online as well.
I'm on Twitter @_MoniqueGiselle_. If you're interested in a tarot reading, organite, incense, candles, and other cool things, you can go to my website, tarotbymonique.com. Or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, you can go to innerstandingshypnosis.com to schedule a free 20-minute consult. And follow me on Twitter @MoniquePCHT. And Alex, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter @TheAlexArion, and you can check out my website, alexarionfitness.com.
And if that's too much to remember, we get it. That's why we put it all in our show notes.
Thanks for spending your time with us, and we appreciate all of your support.
We do. Thank you. We love you. Many people are unaware just how much hypnotherapy can help them, or think it's only to help lose weight or quit smoking. But there is so much more hypnotherapy can do. It can help with stress, anxiety, insomnia, phobias, performance enhancement, connecting with your spirit guides and higher self. You can even discover past lives and your life between lives. Heal traumas, break habits, find your deepest truth, or just have fun discovering who you really are, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Monique Pliakis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I want to help you. Schedule a free consult by going to www.innerstandingshypnosis.com. That's INNERSTANDINGSHYPNOSIS.com. Inner Standings Hypnosis. Find your power and ignite your inner light.